situation for Thailand's aviation industry is dire. Putting Thai Airways' woes aside, it's got an entire world of pain into the future that we'll reserve for another story. The situation is grim for the rest of the local industry. At best, it's hoped that some of them can hang on until there's some break in the cloudy skies ahead, but some will fold under crippling debt and simply a lack of flyers. The two main players in the tourist industry, airlines and hotels, both say that the tourism situation for 2021 is worse than the initial outbreak of the pandemic following the border closures in April 2020. Government-funded lifelines, including low-interest loans, have only gone part of the way to kick the insolvency can down the road. Really, when the airlines in particular were asking the government to put their hands in their pocket for some relief funding in August last year, it was genuinely thought that the international tourists would be coming back for the high season in December and January. At the very least, local tourists and expats would head back to the skies over the traditional holiday break. And surely the Chinese would be back for Chinese New Year. But as we now know, none of that happened. A resurgence in cases started just south of Bangkok on December the 20th last year, just before Christmas, kicking off another round of restrictions, pretty much killing off any possibility of a high season bump for the tourism industry. Airlines slashed flights from their schedule, and hotels, which had dusted off their reception desks for the surge of tourists, shut their doors again. Domestically, the hotel business saw 6 million room nights in the government's latest stimulus campaign fully redeemed, but the air ticket quota of 2 million seats still has over 1.3 million tickets unused. Local tourists mostly skipped flights and opted for destinations within driving distance of their homes. As for international tourism, well, that still seems months or years away even now. Combining lower purchasing power and ongoing travel restrictions in some areas, all the airlines face an unpredictable future. Domestic aviation was just starting to pick up again as 2020 progressed, and Thailand seemed to have largely contained the virus. Now the second wave has not only clipped the airline's wings, but burned any remaining reserves. Unlike the hotel industry, which can just close their doors and limit the cash burn, the airline industry still has enormous overheads, even if their fleet is sitting on the ground. The Civil Aviation Authority of Thailand reported that the number of domestic passengers tumbled 27.1% year on year in the fourth quarter, with international flights dropping 99% in that period. Thai Airways is currently operating an average of 20 flights per day, with just 10 planes, down from 40 aircraft which were flying before the second outbreak. They have 62 planes in their fleet. In response, the Thai franchise of AirAsia has suspended 75% of its workforce, offering most of them leave without pay options. Out of all the discount airline outfits, the Thai franchise of Vietjet appears to have coped with the challenges the best. Whilst losing their ability to fly internationally, they've aggressively ramped up their local flight schedule and actively removed and re-added flights along with demand. A profitable 2019 allowed the parent company and main shareholder in the Thai business to lean on large cash reserves and, from all appearances, move into 2021 in the best shape of the local carriers. Bangkok Airways and Nok Air continue to run stripped-back operations and admit to dipping into dwindling reserves as of the end of last year. For Thai Airways, most of the staff have now been furloughed. The future of the national carrier is bleak as Thailand's bankruptcy court tries to figure out if they can miraculously raise the financially dead. Despite last year's staff predictions that they will survive, industry pundits speculate that the legacy carrier probably won't. Simply, without international tourism, the full complement of domestic carriers in Thailand will not be viable for much longer. There will have to be some victims or consolidation. And whilst Thais and expats remain averse to travelling larger distances at the moment anyway, there's plenty of turbulence ahead for Thailand's aviation industry. Tim Newton, reporting for the Thaiger.